Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Ryzen build. I'm going to install the CPUs, CPU cooler and the memory onto the motherboard so I can put this into my computer case. There's one thing to mention about the Ryzen. There are two types of CPU coolers. There is the included one which comes with screw mount, and there is also one with a clip mount. This is a screw mount, and the motherboard comes with these adapters for clip mount. So if you want to install this type of cooler, you first need to take these adapters out and then screw the cooler onto the motherboard. The nice thing about this design is that it comes with back plates, so it will prevent too much deformations on the circuit board. So we are going to need a screwdriver, and let's get to work. Alright, so the back plate will come off, even though it should have had some adhesive on it. It doesn't have. That's okay, because if you want to install your aftermarket cooler, then you can use its own provided backplate if it's the case. And now let's install the CPU. Nothing fancy here. Put the lever in a 90-degree position, and we will take a look at the layout. And here is the corner pin, and that corresponds to this. So if we are lucky, this enters inside just perfect. I'm gonna apply some gentle pressure on top of it, and I'm going to close the lever. Okay, the CPU is now installed, and I'm going to put the CPU cooler on. I'm going to use the provided thermal paste. I don't want anything fancy. There are a lot of thermal conductors there, but I'm going to use the stock provided one for benchmarking it to see how good it goes. So this will install either this way or either this way, because it's not a perfect square, as you can see. So you cannot put this with AMD on top. It will be AMD on one side or the other side, and the connector for CPU fan is just here, so you may take that into consideration if you want to install it somehow and do some cable management for that. Before I continue the install, I want to show you something. The CPU cooler has a RGB header here hidden, so you take this cap out, and there it goes. And this is the cable that was in its box. This will connect to this connector on the CPU cooler, and this is the RGB header. This will connect to the RGB header on the motherboard. So this should have some LED lights probably inside. I don't know, because the shroud is all black. We'll see if it does something or not, but we'll go on with the install. Now with the screwdriver, I'm going to gently secure the screws. I'm going to first use a cross pattern just to start screwing them in, and then I will continue in a cross pattern let's have a look if everything is okay, if something touches or not. So you can see it has enough clearance there near the capacitors, and on this side it's a lot of space, and on this side it's also free and not touching anything. The backplate is fine, motherboard it's still straight, and now I'm going to continue to screw the cooler in to secure it, and I'm going to keep using a cross pattern. What's nice about the design here is that the screws will stop going in when they reach the needed tension. The thread on the screw is specially limited, so it will go in just as much as needed, and the springs here will keep tension on the CPU. But as you can see, the board already got bended a bit with this cooler installed. It's just a bit, but it's visible, and you can see that also from here. So the backplate is there, but it doesn't do a very good job. You can see the board, it's that way, but this will straighten up when it's fitted into the computer case. It's not as extreme as it's on other motherboards, but it's still that type of bendy motherboard. Right, I'm now going to connect the CPU fan header, and that is installed. I'm going to do something with the wire later. And the memory, it's important on this AM4, as slot numbering, it's reversed comparing with older motherboards. So this is number 1, this is number 2, 3 and 4, and to have dual channel memory you need to start with bank 1 here, and then with connector 2 here. You need to use the same colors like it was on previous motherboards, but you are going to start with module from this side, not on the CPU side. The memory will go in easily if I manage to get it out, and it's out, looking nice, has low profile for better cooling. And we need to observe the notch here. First memory is in, and the second one will go right after it. And the memory is now secured. I'm now going to put this aside a bit and make some room here. We are going to take a close look at the power supply, and that is very important because even though it's new and just out of the box, you should never trust a power supply, even if it's from a known brand. You don't know if the power supply has been tested properly or if something has gone wrong during transport. So it's very good to test it before connecting it to the brand new PC. And to do that, I'm going to use a power supply tester. It's very easy to use it. You just plug in a few of the connectors, and this will start the power supply when you flip the power switch. it will emulate the motherboard. Actually, it will connect the green wire to the ground wire, and it will measure the voltages. So, and if something is abnormal, it will emit an alert, so you will know that something is wrong with the motherboard or with the CPU, with the power supply, and you can prevent the damage to the motherboard or the CPU, because you don't want to ruin them just from start. And I'm going to connect also the this connector here. Like that. And this one should go in, and a 6 connector. Let's see if I have one. Not right now. It's enough for a first test. So I'm now going to connect it to power. So I have connected the power supply to the mains, and now if I flip the switch on, we get the voltages on all lines. So on 5 volts it shows us 4.9, on 12 volt we have 12.1. This is not very accurate in measurement, but it will show if it works or not. This is for a second 12 volt connector, which I have not connected here. As you can see, I have taken the others out because it was hard to show it on camera. Not all cables were the same length, and I could not get a close-up of this. So you can see it here. It shows voltages, it works. It doesn't emit any kind of blue smoke, magic blue smoke. So the power supply seems to be working properly. So I can now move on to installing it into the PC case. Be sure to follow part 3, where I'm going to power this on and we are going to take a look into the BIOS configuration utility to see what this motherboard supports in configuration, to build probably I'm going to build also a RAID array, so we'll see about that. So be sure to follow the next video. Until next time, bye bye.